Hi everyone, in Lee Harris's Own Your Value. This is for Module 7, and I thought I'd be brave and I'd do a little mini video about, it's not actually about one-to-ones, but I would really like to go into doing one-to-ones. This is more about the workshops that I do for women, and we come together once a fortnight and we do intuitive painting and meditation. We share and we have a really wonderful time and we create friendships, and the women who I work with, they come back again and again. So there's a lot of value in these sessions, I think, certainly a lot for me, and I think a lot for the others as well. There's been some really good feedback. So these workshops started over a year ago when amazingly, it just happened, but I don't know, it just happened where I did it. I found a place, a venue close to my home, and advertised these intuitive painting workshops, intuitive painting after meditation, and sometimes painting to music, but having a slightly different theme each session. Um, and the first one I did, nobody turned up, which was okay because I really became attuned to the space, and so I spread out these wonderful long tables and I painted for the whole 2 hours there and really became familiar with the space and felt ready then after that. And then via meetup, people started to ask questions, and then some people um, agreed to come along. And it was always £5 English money to come along. I just needed to cover my meetup costs, and I was really happy with that because I knew that I'd not done this before, and so any kind of feedback would be really valuable for me. And they worked really well. And just before lockdown, I was getting the full contingent, so I could fit about 8 women there, and we were having 8 people coming along, and even some on the waiting list. So that was just so wonderful, and I did up price to £8, um, and that I was happy. I've been really happy with that. So I also run a Facebook group, and that's called Intuitive Painting, Grace and Joy. And I decided to put the workshops on Zoom and just to see if they would translate really well to that. And they have. And what's been so amazing is that now, obviously, I don't have just local people turning up. We have an international community. So some of the women who've been in the online painting group, which is a private Facebook group. It's really safe, wonderful space. I keep it small, it's intimate, and it's great for HSPs, empaths, introverts. It ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's very busy, other times it's very slow, but a really gentle space, a very supportive space. And we've created such good friendships there. Well, anyway, they've come along to these Zoom meetups as well. So we have people from the US, people from the UK, and something that's so wonderful is, and I've often mentioned it, is that there's a lady in Pennsylvania who puts her water jar for cleaning her brushes really quite close to her screen. And when she does clean her brushes, the tinkle, the kind of tinkle tinkle on the glass is so resonant. I can hear it as if she's sitting right next to me. I don't know, it's just little things like that. It's just amazing how close we feel, even though we're 3,000 miles apart. So anyway, yes, so these classes or workshops really are called Intuitive Painting, Grace and Joy, and they follow a loose structure. So we start with a guided meditation, which is led by me, one that I've written myself, a kind of mixture of lots I've loved over the years and taking elements from many. And after that, which is about 10-15 minutes, we go into quiet painting. So nobody really talks and there's no music. But we each paint in our homes. I go away from the screen and paint on the floor, and others do as well. That's also what's so great because it's not so invasive in a way. You know, sometimes it can be a bit intense when you're staring at each other on the screen. But for this, it's a kind of togetherness, but it's also doing our own thing as well, and then coming back to the screen. So we do some painting for maybe 10-15 minutes to see what wants to be expressed from that guided meditation. And then we come together and perhaps share if we want to. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. It's absolutely fine. But I found that people do feel so safe and they do often share. And then we have some music, we make a cup of tea, um, perhaps a little mini book club if anyone's reading anything or they've heard a podcast that they might think is useful to others. Um, then some more painting. We often have an exercise as well, which is another way of, for intuitive paintings, letting go of judgment and painting from a deeper space than the thinking mind. You know, it's all about letting go of this and really connecting from a heart space. Um, and non-judgment. So it's all about process. It's not about the end result. It's not about painting a pretty picture or a beautiful picture, although that does happen. It really happens quite frequently when we get out of our own ways as well. Something that wants to be expressed is such joyousness and beauty, or it might be a depth and a darkness, or sometimes we don't know what it is. It doesn't have to mean anything, but you often find maybe 2-3 days later, the painting does speak to you and you see elements in it that actually connect with something else that's, I don't know, that's being woven through your life at the moment or that's unfolding. So, yes, so we have some more painting, maybe a cup of tea. Oracle cards, we share oracle cards together. Someone picks seventh from the end, or however we do it. Um, and sharing perhaps EFT as well, so a little bit of tapping, emotional freedom technique, and anything else that is of interest to the women in the group. It's not a it's a loosely led group by me, but it's really about everybody feeling comfortable together, sharing and friendship, and it's just the 2 hours just fly by. Really, really they do. It's amazing. And then quite often people will share their paintings in the Facebook group afterwards or whenever they want to. And it's just a really beautiful time that's being dedicated to ourselves, 2 hours every fortnight at the moment. Um, and I found people start then to perhaps paint at home on their own as well, or to journal, to see whatever comes up, but it's creating this sacred space really just for yourself and for really engaging and it's a non-judgment and how beautifully this translates to everyday life as well. I've found throughout my own journey of, we've all had such difficult times sometimes, and it can be a constant throughout that you start to listen inwards even ever more and feel these energies and express them and be kind to yourself. Really, it's a kindness and it's a surprise. These paintings show you something, and or even if they don't, it's a present moment. You're really being present when you're doing this, and also the meeting with other women from around the world is such a gift, and we keep showing up, and that in itself is just wonderful. So yes, so it's intuitive painting, grace and joy, at the moment as a Zoom workshop, but I think I'm going to carry on. Discovering authentic expression through finding which colours, marks, shapes want to show up at certain times. It's also a good way to rediscover your creative flow. So if you're feeling blocked at all, it's a great way of starting. And I also do oil painting, more traditional painting and sketching and felting. And I found that this is more of a spiritual practice for me, as much as the others are in their own way as well. But this is very much entwined with well-being and non-judgment and um, self-compassion, and it sparks other ideas for other projects that I have. So it's just wonderful. So if anyone's interested, um, please do ask more. And but this has been quite terrifying, but also really good to do. So thank you, Lee, and see you again. Bye.